a corporate job in Japan. And it was my own personal life challenges that made me turn towards yoga, spirituality, mental health. And in that journey, you know, some people call it midlife crisis, but I call it like awakening or the second life. In that, I explored the length and depth of mental health, you know, hypnotherapy, past life regression, and, you know, childhood trauma, all of that. And I went into the length and depth of all the research and all the area of in childhood trauma. And that led me to then completely go through a career change where I then you know, got certified as a therapist. I started my own therapy center, then did my PhD. That took a long time, like 7 years of doing that on childhood trauma. And then the outcome was the book. So the journey was very, so I studied something completely different, and then I ended up working in a completely different area. And the book I wrote was completely, has come from the conviction that whatever I have learned, understood, studied, seen in my practice with people needs to be communicated widely. People need to be aware, because every single parent I spoke to told me that wish we knew some things earlier, wish as a parent I had known some of these things, I wouldn't have made these mistakes. So I realized that, well, with all good intentions, the methods may not be right. And for that, we need to build awareness. So then started my social media journey. You know, when people call me an influencer, it's an accidental influencer. I just started using Instagram to share everything I had learned, studied, and researched. And it was a creative expression for me. And I never realized when it became so big, because when I started, nobody was talking on mental health. So, and then I'm glad that, you know, people listen to it. And so I was thinking, how can a social media platform like bring about any change in a person's life? I was like, I wasn't aware of the power of social media back then. How can a 30-second reel change somebody's life? But when people wrote to me saying that one video that I heard, you know, about how to deal with my 5-year-old's tantrum, or that one video I heard about relationship, that completely changed my way of looking at things. And that kind of led me to go further in this area.
All right. So more questions on that for you later. And Vijendra ji, आप कैसे यहाँ पर पहुँचे?
Well, thank you, Kolkata. Thank you, Sujata. Sujata, thank you. In fact, it's a relief कि मेरा जो सबसे पहला सवाल आया वो बहुत दिनों के बाद ये नहीं है कि मैं कैजुअली बैठी हूँ कि formally, because wherever I go, the first question generally coming from the youngsters, usually the host, the youngster, and they'll say, "Sir, मैं कैजुअली बैठी हूँ कि formally बैठी हूँ और बैठा हूँ." So that way it is a pleasant break from and being in a company of people from my age. That is also really wonderful. जहाँ तक ये बात है कि मैं यहाँ कैसे आया, I'm sorry, there are no रैक्स टू रिचेस स्टोरी हियर. जनरली वो लोगों को बहुत पसंद आती है. लेकिन आई वाज ट्रेन्ड एज अ इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर. उसके बाद जब मैं इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग में था, देन आई रियलाइज कि मेरा झुकाव जो है, आई एम मोर इंक्लाइंड टुवर्ड्स हिंदी लिटरेचर. सो मैंने अपनी इंजीनियरिंग खत्म करके पेरेंट्स को दी और उसके बाद आई जॉइंड हिंदी. आई वाज लिटरली किक्ड आउट ऑफ माय होम फॉर डूइंग सो, because back in 80s, early 90s, it was unthinkable that somebody who's trained as engineer will go to literature, would be Hindi. Angrezi literature फिर भी समझ में आता है, but Hindi literature. Then I went on doing my master's and MPhil PhD, joined university as but accidentally what happened that a friend of mine, Dr. Vikas Divikirti, who was my roommate, teammate in the debating and all, he established this institution called Drishti, which later became a RAGE, more of a UPSC coaching institution, and they started this mock interview programs. And we were the first, I mean, Drishti was the first institution which started making it a social media thing, having it on the YouTube and things like that. In 2016-17, they started. It was with, so they had this first entry advantage, and then people start watching it, people start liking it and all. But मैं इन्फ्लुएंसर जो बना उसमें मुझे लगता है कि इसकी भूमिका ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इस सेंस में, अभी लास्ट जो हिस्टोरिकल फिक्शन वाला सेशन हो रहा था उससे भी शायद ये चीज़ें इमर्ज करेंगी, दैट पीपल एक्चुअली